Tommy Egan walked away from New York thinking he left his past behind. But the streets of Chicago have their own rules. And in Season 2, we saw Tommy break them all. Now, fans are asking one question. When is Force coming back and what secrets will it finally reveal? Season 2 of Power Book 4. Force didn't hold back. From the very first episode, Tommy was already knee-deep in trouble. He came to Chicago to start over. Instead, he created new enemies, built risky alliances, and tried to take over a city that wasn't ready to be ruled by someone like him. One of the biggest moves Tommy made was going after the Flynn family. He didn't just challenge them, he tried to replace them. Walter Flynn's grip on Chicago was already slipping, and Tommy took advantage of every crack in that empire. But that power grab came at a cost. Claudia Flynn, more dangerous and unpredictable than her father, became a true enemy, and fans saw her go full villain by the end of the season. At the same time, Tommy didn't do all of this alone. He teamed up with Diamond, a former gang leader trying to walk a straight path. Their partnership was always shaky, built on mutual goals more than real trust. And as the episodes went on, it became clear that their alliance could break at any time. Diamond had his own problems, especially with his brother Jennard, who wasn't ready to give up control or respect Tommy's presence. Season 2 also gave us more insight into Tommy's emotional side. He's not just a street soldier or drug dealer, he's a man carrying a lot of loss. Ghost is gone. Lakeisha is gone. His family ties are broken. But the biggest shock of all, finding out he has a biological brother, JP, and a nephew he never knew about. That side story gave the show heart, showing Tommy in a way we hadn't really seen before. And it's clear the writers are planning to explore that relationship more in the next season. But it wasn't all about family or power. There was war brewing from every angle. The Serbs made their move. The Flynns retaliated. And Tommy was stuck in the middle, doing what he does best: survive by playing both sides. The final episodes of Season 2 hinted at an all-out turf war, something even more brutal than we've seen so far in the Power universe. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, someone close to Tommy betrays him. That final cliffhanger, with loyalties shifting and alliances falling apart, left fans with more questions than answers. Who can Tommy really trust? Can he hold on to the empire he's building, or will it all fall apart like it did in New York? The ending made one thing clear. Tommy's not going anywhere. He's not backing down. But in Season 3, the fight won't just be about territory. It'll be about legacy. And now, with rumors swirling about flashbacks, crossovers, and even deeper connections to the Power universe, fans know this next season could change everything. After that wild Season 2 finale, fans have been waiting, searching, and guessing when Power Book 4, Force Season 3 will finally return. And while Starz hasn't dropped an official release date yet, we have some strong clues that give us a pretty good idea of when to expect it. Let's look at the past first. Season 1 of Force dropped in February 2022. Season 2 arrived in September 2023. That's about 18 to 19 months apart. If Starz is following the same pattern, we might expect Season 3 to land around early 2025. Maybe in February or March. But here's where things get interesting. Several insiders in the Power fandom, including some crew members and cast on social media, have hinted that filming for Season 3 wrapped up much earlier this time. Some reports say they were already deep into post-production by mid-2024. That means the wait could be shorter than expected, maybe even a surprise late 2024 drop. And if you've been following Starz lately, you'll know the network is pushing harder than ever to stay competitive. With shows like BMF, Raising Kanan, and Power Book 2, Ghost, Starz is stacking its schedule. They don't want big gaps between shows. So it would make sense to drop Force Season 3 right after Ghost finishes its next season, or even during a mid-season break to keep fans hooked. Some fans are also speculating that Starz might release Force in 2 parts, like they've done with Ghost. That means we could get Part 1 sooner than Part 2 a few months later. It's not confirmed, but the network has used this strategy to stretch out hype and keep people subscribed. Now, let's talk about the trailer. So far, there's no official teaser or trailer out yet. But usually, Starz releases a teaser about 4 to 6 weeks before the season premiere. So when that teaser drops, we'll know the release date is close. Recently, fans have noticed some of the actors posting behind-the-scenes pictures again, like Joseph Sikora, who plays Tommy. This kind of social media activity usually means something is coming soon. Asterisk, one more thing. The timing also depends on the other Power Universe shows. Raising Kanan Season 4 is coming soon, and Stars usually doesn't like overlapping their big titles, so it's possible that Force might air right after Raising Kanan wraps, giving each show room to shine without stealing attention from the other. Asterisk, bottom line. While the exact date is still under wraps, all signs point to late 2024 or early 2025. That means fans won't have to wait too much longer. The writing is done. Filming is done, and now it's just about timing and Stars making the big announcement. Asterisk, but while we wait for that official date, let's talk about something that's got the entire fandom buzzing. Tommy's origin story. Is Force about to show us who Tommy really was before New York, before Ghost, before the game? In the next section, we're diving into the hints and clues about origin flashbacks, possible new characters, and how it all connects to the bigger Power Universe timeline. Asterisk, there's something different in the air around Force Season 3 and fans have started picking up on it. It's not just about Street Wars anymore, it's deeper, more personal. And the biggest sign, the whispers of Tommy Egan's origin story finally coming to light. Asterisk, let's be honest. Tommy is one of the most loved characters in the Power Universe. But even after all these years, we still don't know everything about him. We've seen him grow into a feared street boss. We've seen him love, lose, and kill. But what about the Tommy before Ghost? The kid who grew up in Queens, raised by a manipulative mother and surrounded by chaos. That's the part fans have been dying to see, and Season 3 might be ready to give it to us. Asterisk, here's why. Asterisk, in a few recent interviews, Joseph Sikora, the actor behind Tommy, hinted that the new season of Force would go deeper than before. He didn't say much, but the words origin and family kept coming up. Some fans believe we're finally going to get flashbacks, the kind of scenes that show a young Tommy, maybe even his teenage years, and what made him the way he is. Asterisk, think about it. Raising Kanan already gave us young Kanan Stark. We're seeing how he became the cold, smart killer from the original Power series. So why not do the same for Tommy? Show us the raw version of him, back when he was just a street kid trying to survive before he met Ghost, before the game fully swallowed him. Asterisk, if this theory is true, it opens up some wild possibilities. We could meet a younger Kate Egan, maybe even understand more about her twisted relationship with Tommy. We could see the early days of Tommy's friendship with Ghost, and even his first run-ins with crime. There might be scenes showing how he got into dealing, what drove his rage, and how he built that ride-or-die personality we know so well. Asterisk, there's also a chance these flashbacks will connect to the current timeline. For example, maybe Tommy makes a decision in Season 3 based on something from his past. Maybe a name from back in the day shows up in Chicago. A rival, a friend, a betrayal that shaped him. That would give the show a chance to connect the past and present in a meaningful way, like Ghost and QAnon have done. Asterisk, but here's the twist. What if it's not just about looking back? What if Force is setting up a crossover event where Tom's past and QAnon's past intersect? It might sound crazy, but in the Power Universe, anything is possible, especially if Stars is planning to build toward a big, final crossover across all the spin-offs. Imagine seeing a young Ghost, young Tommy, and young Kanan all in one episode played by new actors, showing us how it all started. Asterisk, even if that doesn't happen this season, just giving us flashbacks of young Tommy would be huge. It would deepen his story, give fans more to connect with, and show that Force isn't just about power moves and turf wars. It's about who Tommy is, not just as a gangster, but as a man shaped by pain, loss, and survival. Asterisk, some rumors even say there's already been casting calls for younger versions of major characters. Nothing has been confirmed, but fans on Reddit and Twitter have been sharing audition videos and photos that seem to back it up. Asterisk, and here's something else. The theme of Season 3 seems to be about legacy. Tommy's building something in Chicago, but is it really his, or is he just repeating the same mistakes? To understand his future, we have to understand his past. And the writers know that, which is why Season 3 could be the most personal chapter of Force yet. Asterisk, coming up in the next section, we'll explain how Force fits into the Power Universe timeline, because things aren't as simple as they seem. Different shows are overlapping. Some events are happening at the same time. Others might be way ahead or behind. and understanding that timeline is the key to knowing what's really coming next. Asterisk. If you're deep into the power shows, you've probably noticed one thing: it's not always clear when everything is happening. The Power universe is full of different timelines, overlapping events, flashbacks, and crossovers. But if we take a closer look, we can actually figure out where Power Book 4, Force, fits in, and how it connects to the bigger story. Let's break it down piece by piece. Everything started with the original Power series. That show followed Ghost, Tommy, Tasha, Angela, and the drug game in New York. It ran for 6 seasons, ending with Ghost's death in season 6. When Ghost died, the whole universe shifted. That's when the spin-offs started and the timeline split into different paths. Asterisk. After Power, we got Power Book 2, Ghost. That show follows Tariq, Ghost's son, as he tries to survive college, the street game, and his family's legacy. This show picks up right after Ghost's death, and runs almost parallel to it in terms of emotion and story. So when you see Tariq building his own empire, it's happening soon after the events of Power Season 6. Asterisk. Next came Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. This is where it gets tricky because Raising Kanan is a prequel. It takes place in the early 1990s, decades before Ghost or Tommy became major players. It shows us how a young QAnon Stark, played by 50 Cent in the original series, brought into the game. So while Raising Kanan is a part of the universe, it's not happening at the same time as Force or Ghost. It's way earlier. Asterisk. Now, back to Force. Tommy's story. Power Book 4, Force begins after Ghost's death, just like Book 2, Ghost. In fact, the very first episode of Force shows Tommy leaving New York, shortly after everything falls apart. He's mourning Ghost, Lakeisha is gone, and there's nothing left for him in New York, so he drives west and ends up in Chicago. Asterisk. That means Force is happening at the same time as the early seasons of Book 2, Ghost. While Tariq is building his empire at college, Tommy is setting up shop in Chicago. The timelines are parallel, but there's little interaction between them so far. Asterisk. That's why it was such a big deal when Tommy appeared in Book 2, Ghost Season 1. That quick cameo confirmed they're still in the same world, just on different paths. It also opened the door for more crossovers in the future. Especially if Starz decides to merge storylines in a final season. Asterisk. And here's something to keep in mind: Force may actually be ahead of Ghost in terms of character development. Tommy has moved cities, built connections, and made enemies. Meanwhile, Tariq is still figuring out who he is. That gap could grow even more in the next seasons, depending on how the shows are paced. It's one reason why fans think Force might wrap up first, or at least shift into new territory faster. Asterisk. So, let's map it out in simple order. Asterisk 1. Power Book 3, Raising QAnon, 1990s. Early days of the game. Asterisk 2. Power Original, modern day. Ends with Ghost's death. 3. Power Book 2, Ghost. Right after Ghost's death, follows Tariq. 4. Power Book IV, Force, same timeline as Ghost, but focused on Tommy in Chicago. Asterisk. If Starz decides to bring all the shows together at some point, we could see timelines line up. Imagine a crossover where Tommy returns to New York, or Tariq ends up in Chicago. Maybe even a flashback where an adult QAnon shows up again if it fits the story. Asterisk. One thing is clear: the writers are carefully connecting every piece. Even small characters, like Detective Blanca or Councilman Tate, show up in multiple shows. These overlaps may seem small now, but they're building toward something bigger. Asterisk. So if you've been watching all the Power shows and feeling confused about when things are happening, don't worry, you're not alone. But with this breakdown, you can now see where Force fits in the puzzle. It's not just a spin-off. It's a key part of the universe's future. Asterisk. Next, we'll talk about character returns and possible crossovers. Could Tariq and Tommy meet again? Will someone from Raising Kanan show up in present day? And who might betray Tommy next? Let's get into all of that in the next section. Asterisk. If there's one thing Power fans always want more of, it's crossovers. The moment Tommy showed up in Ghost, or when familiar faces returned in Raising Kanan, the internet went wild. Why? Because the Power universe is built on deep character connections, and Force Season 3 might be the next big chapter where everything starts to link up again. Asterisk. Let's talk about who could return, who might pop up for the first time, and what those crossovers could mean for Tommy's story. Asterisk. First, Let's start with the most talked about possibility. Tariq and Tommy meeting again. Their last run-in in Book 2, Ghost Season 1 was short, intense, and left a lot of fans wanting more. Tommy wanted revenge. Tariq wanted forgiveness. But the tension was real. They have history and unfinished business. Tommy still blames Tariq for Ghost's death. And that pain doesn't just go away. Asterisk, in Season 3 of Force, many fans believe a surprise appearance from Tariq is possible. Maybe Tommy returns to New York briefly. Or maybe Tariq's operation crosses paths with someone in Chicago. Either way, a Tommy-Tariq reunion would be explosive and could shift the entire tone of both shows. Asterisk, another potential crossover. Brayden Weston. In Book 2, Ghost, Brayden has been growing into his own kind of boss, and his connection with Tommy goes back to the original Power series, where Tommy respected Brayden for being loyal even when he didn't agree with Ghost's choices. Imagine Brayden stepping into Chicago for business, or even needing Tommy's help. That would make for a powerful link between the two shows. Asterisk, then there's the big wild card, QAnon Stark. Right now, we're watching his young life unfold in Raising Kanan. But in the Power timeline, adult QAnon is already dead. So the only way he could appear in Force is through flashbacks, or a surprise teen with someone from his past. Could Tommy run into someone who knew Kanan in the 90s? Could Kanan's name come up in a way that affects the current war in Chicago? These little callbacks are the kind of deep storytelling Power is known for. Asterisk now. Let's talk about characters inside Force who could return. One major question is, will Kate Egan come back? Tommy's mother is unpredictable, emotional, and manipulative, but she's still his mother. Their relationship is messy, but it's also real. In Season 2, we saw more of his personal life through his brother JP and his nephew, D-Mac. Bringing Kate back into the mix would add more possibly reveal more about Tommy's childhood, especially if flashbacks are involved. Asterisk, another possible return is Liliana. Now, fans know she was killed off in Season 1, but in this universe, no character is ever truly gone. Flashbacks, hallucinations, or even secrets connected to her past could still show up. Liliana was one of the few people Tommy fully trusted. In Chicago, her death changed him. If someone from her old world returns, or if her name comes up again, it could send Tommy into a spiral or even motivate a major move. Asterisk also. Don't forget about Diamond and Jannard. Their story in Season 2 felt far from over. Their beef, their struggle for power, and their uneasy peace with Tommy are all pieces that could explode again. A betrayal from either of them would hit hard, and in a show like Force, betrayal is never far away. Asterisk, then we have the law. Detective Blanca Rodriguez has been appearing across the Power shows, slowly building cases and connecting dots. She's already been watching Tariq. What if she turns her attention to Tommy? A crossover investigation could bring New York heat into Chicago territory, forcing Tommy to face legal trouble on a whole new level. Asterisk, at the end of the day, crossovers in Force aren't just for fan service. They're story tools. Every time characters from other shows appear, it shakes up the world. It reminds us that Force, Ghost, QAnon, and the original Power are all part of one giant chessboard, and the moves being made in Chicago might affect what happens in New York and vice versa. Asterisk, the final piece of this puzzle. A possible endgame crossover. Some fans believe Starz is building up to a massive event, maybe a final season or movie that brings Tommy, Tariq, Brayden, and others back together for one last showdown. It's just a theory, but with how these characters are evolving, it doesn't sound impossible. Asterisk, so what should we expect in Season 3 of Force? More drama, more betrayal, and maybe, just maybe, some familiar faces showing up when we least expect them. Asterisk, up next in the final section, we'll dive into fan theories and what to expect from the story itself, because let's be real, the Power fandom always sees the twists coming before they happen. Asterisk.